Let's say you were walking above the freshly washed and skinned potatoes at the Pringles factory, and just as you were admiring the big batch, you fell into them. What would happen? Your first stop would be the heater. For consistency and preservation, Pringles chips are blasted with 600-degree air. Fortunately, humans are better at retaining water than potatoes are, but still, your cells would not like the extreme heat. Your body cells are capable of functioning at up to 113 degrees of body temperature, but 108-degree fevers are often fatal because of a self-destruct mechanism buried within that cell. This is an adaptation to fend off viruses, because when a virus comes into your cells, it turns them into little virus-making factories. The way our cells prevent this spread is to destroy themselves at around 108 degrees. That means you'd only last a couple of minutes in the potato heater before you'd lose enough brain cells that control critical functions, like your heartbeat, and you would die. Fortunately, your body's journey would continue. After the heater, your body would be mashed and minced into a fine powder, and some cornmeal and wheat would be mixed in to create a formula that sort of resembles pancake mix. In fact, so many extra ingredients are added to Pringles that they aren't technically potato chips. Or at least, that's what their lawyers argued in front of a judge once to try to avoid some taxes. After that, water would be added so that you'd form a nice slurry, and then you'd head to the press. The Pringles rolling press applies 4 tons of pressure, which means if you stuck your hand in there, it would be flattened until it was the size of a basketball. Fortunately, you're already dead, so all you are is stamped into a very flat, powdered pancake mix. Next, your flat pancake mix would be cut into thin ovals and then molded into the familiar Pringles shape. This shape is called a hyperbolic paraboloid, and it's one of the very first uses of a supercomputer. You may be too dead to care, but your new shape is designed to be both perfectly unaerodynamic, so that it does not fly off the factory belt, and fit perfectly into a can. Once your body was in the perfectly designed, familiar Pringles shape, you'd be immersed in a deep fryer for exactly 11 seconds, after which your remains would be lightly flavored. In the US, those flavors are pretty boring, like salt and pepper or maybe ranch, so if you want to be turned into something truly interesting, go to the Belgium plant, where their flavors are stuff like prawn. Then your final, flavored Pringle chips would be placed into cans. And now you'd be the first person to be a Pringle chip, but you would not be the first person to be buried in a Pringle can. That distinction belongs to Fred Bauer, the inventor of the Pringles can, who asked that his final, ashen remains be buried in one of his inventions. Pringles are only 42% potato, so if you're 180 pounds, you'd create 5,500 Pringles chips, or approximately 500 cans of Pringles. In a typical day, Americans consume approximately 270,000 cans of Pringles, so the odds that any one person would get you are quite low, but someone would. And the question is, what would you taste like? Thanks to a gruesome experiment run by a journalist named William Seabrook in the 1920s, we have a decent idea. Seabrook managed to acquire some human meat from a hospital, and when he cooked and ate it, he said that human meat, in both color, taste, and texture, resembles veal. So if you fell into the potatoes at the Pringles factory, you would probably taste like a chip of 42% veal, some corn and wheat mix, some salt, and some ranch seasoning.